Hey everyone, and welcome back to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 284, recorded on January 9th, 2024. And my name is Steve.
January 9th.
I thought I said
January
29th.
29th.
I thought I said 29th. In my head, I said 29th. But maybe I'm time traveling already. I was actually so concerned that I would say 2023 that maybe I skipped over the 20 part of the 29th. I don't know. But either way, my name is Steve, and I'm, of course, joined here by Barry and Greg. Barry, how's it going? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's been going. It's been crazy, that's for sure. So looking forward to a whole new year, which of course we'll be talking about today.
Good. Greg, how you doing? Have a good New Year as well?
Yep, I sure did. Lots of gaming filled in throughout the holiday season and stuff. Got to spend some good time with my daughter and do everything now. And I apologize, but she's trying to FaceTime me at the time of this recording. And it's coming through my other device, so the sound is not being muted. But
you tell her, hey, she can just tune into the podcast and join us in the live chat.
Yeah, right.
And make sure to tell her that she has to speak about all your embarrassing secrets right there in the chat for us to
absolutely. Yes, for sure.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, speaking of the live chat, we have that live chat going, and when we record live, and it's on YouTube and Twitch. We are streaming live on both those platforms. So if you want to join us, programming note that we have been doing this for the last little bit on Monday evenings, and we are now going to be switching back to our original schedule of Tuesday evenings, starting next episode. So the next episode will be on February 13th. So instead of that every other Monday, it will now be every other Tuesday starting on the next episode. So February 13th will be our next episode. And we're also going to be bumping up the live recording a half an hour. So typically we would record at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and all the other time zones, of course, adjusted accordingly. But we're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time zone instead of 8:30, and so just shifted a half an hour up. And so I know some of you guys have sometimes have to jump off early, so maybe that will actually help you to be able to stick around for most of the show. And we'd love to have you jump in the chat and join us and talk about all the different stuff that we're going to be talking about. Tonight is going to be a lot of stuff packed into this episode. Of course, our main discussion is going to be the predictions. We're going to look back at our 2023 predictions, see how we did, and also look ahead to 2024 and make some new predictions. We're also going to be talking a lot about the recent Nintendo news that's been going on since our last podcast. We have taken a month off since our last episode, and so there's a lot to cover. We are going to be shifting our order as well, so how we do the show. So typically we have moved our main discussion up earlier in the show. We're going to move it back just a little bit and move headlines ahead of that. So just a small programming change that if you've been with us for a while, you are probably used to us going in that order. We're just shifting it up, changing things up and seeing how it goes. Of course, we'd love to always hear your feedback on how the show is going as well. But if you have not joined us on social media, we'd love to recommend you hop over there on Twitter or your favorite social media and follow us at NintendoFuse. And if you have not joined our Discord server yet, the link is on the screen and also in the show notes and the YouTube description as well. And we would absolutely love for you to jump in there and join the discussion on our Discord. But let's get into what we have been playing and what we've been up to over the last several weeks. And to start us off, we're going to go to Greg first because Barry's got a gigantic list. And so we're going to get you up front, Greg, so that people will hear you and hear what you've been doing before we hear Barry's segment of 20 minutes of what he's been playing.
Yeah, that's probably good, accurate representation of the time frame because I'm sure. I mean, I could easily try making mine as long as possible, but I also don't want to bore everybody out too. So I mean, I could easily say every minute detail about each of the games that I played too, but I guess I don't have to go there. The biggest focus that I had over the last month or so was the Advance Wars 1+2 collection for Switch. So I had gotten it, I had pre-ordered it when they made the modified release date to last year, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside for most of the year. And then so I finally was able to hit the backlog in December after the last podcast, and I actually beat both 1 and 2. So I did the full main campaign mode, and I do think it was a very fun set of games. I had never played the Game Boy Advance originals, and it was definitely very comparable to like Fire Emblem Play. The main distinction I took away is it's not quite as strategic because you don't have to keep certain things alive, and it doesn't matter if like things do die. And thankfully, they do have ways on some maps to actually regenerate some of your units too. So there are like specific like bases and airports and like naval ports where you can actually respawn like certain units by paying some of the gold that you get like on each turn. So that was definitely a welcome change because obviously on Fire Emblem it's you're more keen to keep everybody alive, but Advance Wars it's you can play possibly a bit more recklessly and like doesn't really quite matter nearly as much in the end if like certain things die or get defeated or whatever too. So there's not that attachment tied to it. But yeah, it plays very similarly to Fire Emblem. Would definitely recommend it for anyone that has never played that or maybe wants to try like a lighter version of Fire Emblem even because it's essentially just like some of the stuff like taken out as I said, and it's still kind of the same grid-based type of strategic gameplay where you just have to be mindful of how far different tanks and different planes and stuff can attack and range different units. So yeah, it was a very fun game. I did complete the campaign. I didn't do the fully 100% mode or anything like that. I just wanted to fully enjoy the story. So it was definitely a very good time there. Over these last just this last weekend, I started up Super Mario RPG. So it was another one off of the backlog. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it as a holiday gift, and it turns out I did not. So I pretty much I bought the two voucher thing for $100 and got that one along with another code. I had done the demo for that as well, but I can jump into that a little while. So I had never really played the Super Mario RPG on the SNES. I did kind of tap into it a little bit. I think when it was on either Wii or Wii U Virtual Console, I had kind of, for whatever reason, I just ran out of time or just lost some partial interest in it because it was on Virtual Console and felt a little bit clunkier. But I have really been enjoying my playthrough now, and it's definitely been very fun, and it's also very quick. I've already gotten like 3 of the stars already after like just playing it for like 6 hours or so on Sunday. So it was another great game, and looking forward to playing more of that into the February here. So then I also had said I played another code demo. So I mentioned on the last podcast I was interested in to see what this collection was about and if it was right for me. I checked out the demo. I had beat the demo, which is I guess just like the first chapter of story where they have a few of the puzzles. I really enjoyed what I saw there and felt pretty confident to pretty much use the other voucher to redeem it for the full version of the game. So right now it's waiting for me to play. It might have been inserted before Mario RPG, but with my fiance playing Super Mario RPG now too, I felt more obligated to put that one in, insert it in before another code. So that's pretty much will be on the docket after I finish up Super Mario RPG. I did play a little bit of Among Us just with my daughter and my brother, just kind of some fun notes there. They have been still releasing different skins and different things to unlock in there. So it was just, I did notice they did like an indie cube where you can unlock like the duck from Untitled Goose Game and some other interesting tidbits from random games with a crossover event. So that was kind of fun to see. And I'll probably be working my way through to unlock some of those kind of customizable items for the Among Us character thing. I don't even know what they call the little space guys, but I guess sus or red or I don't know. But yeah, and then I did have some fun playing on my GameCube. I wanted to play some Super Mario Baseball, so I've kind of reignited my passion for that, and I completed like the main campaign on the hardest difficulty. So now it's just kind of finishing unlocking the rest of the stuff on my save data. I don't know where my original one went from years ago, but I had started a new file at some point like a few years back, and then I never finished it. And then like now I kind of jumped back into was wrapping up fully unlocking the rest of the stuff for when me and my friend play. Yeah, and then on mobile, still doing like Roblox with my daughter, various games on there, and then also Simpsons Tapped Out. So it's just been maintaining my interest over the holiday seasons and still tapping away in that life-ruining game that they say it's called.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, if you're joining us live, be sure to let us know what you've been playing in the chat room, but also you can let us know after the fact. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, throw that in the comments, and you can contact us on Discord or our social media to let us know what you've been playing as well. But Barry, it's time to go for your entire list. And Greg, you just want to, we could probably just go grab a snack or dinner as Barry talks about his like 70 games that he's been playing. I don't know.
Yeah, you could
That's
just put
funny.
Barry on full screen, and then we could just go.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. There he
No,
is, right there.
no. Put you guys back. No, we're not doing it.
This is the Barry show.
There we go. Yeah, no. Yeah, you mentioned backlogs. If you think about 2023, and even if you look at the stuff I played, I didn't touch the backlog pretty much. Like I think Rhapsody was like the only real backlog game I played because it was just banger after banger after banger. Like it was constantly playing new games. So finally that stopped until mid-January. So I'm like, oh my god, I've got time. I can actually crack open the backlog and do a marathon again. I decided to do that, and I kind of went crazy, but that's okay. So to start off on the Switch, Pokemon Unite, just play that every day, a few rounds. Pokemon Scarlet, they did do a DLC epilogue that I went through. That was like 30 minutes. It was really quick, but I did that, and they have a 7-star raid, so I did those as well. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a game I did not expect to put back in, but they've been releasing new spirits. Last weekend they did, and this previous weekend they did. So I booted it up, got those spirits. Apparently, I also missed the Evil Ryu spirit, which was the last one back in 2022. So I managed to get that as well. So I'm caught up on spirits really quick. I mentioned Rhapsody before. That was the marathon of last year that I was doing. I did the first game earlier, and the last podcast, I was in the middle of Rhapsody 2. You can get Rhapsody 2 and 3 on the Moral Kingdom Chronicles. First time they're released in the West. I finished 2. 2 is fantastic. I also finished 3, and 3 is terrible. I can't believe a downgrade happened so much. It is the most pointless. It's like, where do we go from here? Let's just do minor little stories that don't count for anything. There is an epilogue to 2 that was completely not needed, and they changed up the battle system, and it's terrible. And then at the end, it's like, guess what, guys? We're doing this final chapter, and it's bringing every character from the first game and the second game and all the villains, and you could play as everybody all together as this final congratulations champion run, except that the characters like from the first and second game that you play as are like level 12 and the villains are like level 148. So your party is 100% misbalanced because the level 13s are dying instantly because everything's skewed for the level 148. I was like, oh, this is terrible game design. So I definitely recommend the first 2 games, especially the second game. Give the third game a shot if you want, because you get it when you buy the second game. But wow, was I really I can't remember a game the last time I actually forced myself to finish a game. Like I was just not having fun by the end. I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. But I did it. I guess what Nintendo did a sale during the holidays. Really good sale on digital games. And as a physical collector, I miss a lot of digital only games because they don't always put them physical. Sometimes they do, and so I usually wait. But since they didn't, I said I'm going to take advantage. So I bought some games, which was a lot of my backlog. So the Capcom Arcade Stadium, I finally got the full thing. But I only played one game, which was Senjo no Okami 2, which is a Japanese-only shooter. It was pretty fun. But the main thing I bought was Capcom Arcade Stadium 2 for the Mega Man Power Battles and Power Fighters. I've not played those in years, and I wanted to play through them again. They're quick. I mean, you get like 20 minutes, but I had fun. It's great that 2 more Mega Man games are on the Switch. Another game that a friend got me into was a game called Suka Game, which kind of like blew up. It was also known as the Watermelon Game. It was like $3. I bought it and I played it, and the Christmas theme, and I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. And I played it for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm like, I've seen all I need to see. I'm done. Never made a watermelon, unfortunately. Uno, I played some Uno, and the main reason I did that is I noticed that Uno was free on the eShop, and I'm like, why is it free? I already have Uno because we reviewed Uno years ago. And like Catan, there's a new version of Uno that I was like, what? So I downloaded the new version, checked it out, and decided while I was there I played a game. But it was interesting that they did that. Anuchard, something that's available right now from Premium Edition Games, physical pre-order. There's two different endings to that game, so I decided to go back and get the second ending. What a fantastic game. I love Anuchard. That is an awesome Zelda game, and if you like Zelda and you like quirky stories, you owe yourself to play this game. Another game that just launched actually called Arcade Tycoon. I enjoy the tycoon style games. I enjoy SimCity. This is a game where you get to build your own arcade. You get to design your own arcade, but you get to actually change the difficulty of the machines so that more people play it, or they cost more coins. You have the concessions. You want people to stay. You could do marketing. You can give like free tokens for this month, and it's crazy how it works. And then of course, since it's a tycoon style game, aliens can come over and they can mess up your arcade, or you could have people who come in just to steal, and you have to get security. One time my wife was playing as well because she likes these games, and she said someone came in, got pissed off at an arcade machine, so he decided to break it, and the arcade wound up electrocuting him. I'm like, it's crazy. It's fun. It's definitely a cool time if you like tycoon style games and ever wanted to own your own arcade. Playing a game called Raccoon Venture. It's a 3D platformer from an isometric point of view. Really fun. I didn't beat it, but I did get a decent chunk into it. But one game I did beat, and I'll talk about on a separate video more, is a game called Saga of the Moon Goddess, which I had for review from Eastasiasoft. This is a Zelda style game, like a Link to the Past, Oracle, like a Game Boy Color style Zelda game. Really short. I think I beat it in like 4 to 5 hours, but a lot of fun. So you check out my review coming soon. And speaking of reviews, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I'm not going to go into that much here. We do have a review, but I played through that and completed that. A lot of fun. Now, along with Greg, another code, Recollection, and the demo I did do. And I can tell you that you're going to enjoy yourself because these are great games. I never played these on the DS. Obviously, we never got the second one. But I did do the demo, really liked it, got the full game. One weird thing is you can't pick the second game. So if you play Trace Memory on the DS, you can't just start on the second game. The second game just starts instantly after the first game. Like it just goes into each other. So what I did and what I recommend if you want is create a save file at the end of the first game. That way, if you ever want to just play the second game, you can just load that up and play the second game. Both games are great. All fully voiced, really well done. What a cool adventure. You can't die. Like these games are not like there's no game over. Even with the puzzles, there's no game over. In fact, one of the puzzles in the second game is like, this is timed. Hopefully you can do it. And if you fail enough times, we're just going to remove the timer so you could just complete it. So it's a great story, really really cool stories. Both of them are worth playing. They're pretty much visual. They're walking visual novels with some puzzles, but I love that genre, so I was there for it. Something I didn't love that really disappointed me on the NSO. I went to the Genesis app and played some Crusader of Senti because it's Sega's Zelda. And I was like, this is not fun. I just not have fun with it. It felt clunky. It felt weird. I just couldn't get into it. But what I did get into, and we'll talk a little bit more about later, is Golden Sun, which is what I'm actually playing right now in the GBA. I'm about halfway through Golden Sun. I haven't played it since it came out on the Game Boy Advance. Lot easier with the rewind feature, and the save states don't really matter as much because Golden Sun allows you to save anywhere, which is fantastic. You can just save anywhere, but the rewind helps a little bit. But it's a great game. It is archaic though, and I forgot it was archaic in the sense of if there's two enemies and you have two of your characters attack the same enemy, and the first one kills the first enemy. In modern RPGs, the other character will just automatically target the remaining enemy, and in this one it won't. They will just defend. So it's back to Final Fantasy 1 archaic, and I totally forgot that, and I was like, oh man. So a little knock on it just because we've been spoiled in the last 20 or so years.
I think the initial Dragon Quest games did that too, like
yes.
the initial ones.
Yes, they did. Yeah, it's an archaic style. And of course, this is not a remake. This is literally just a port of the GBA, but it's still great. A game that's been on my backlog since 2017, Splatoon 2. I went back and I did Splatoon 2 story mode. Completed it. I didn't 100%. I didn't get everything in every level, but I got a lot of it. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, especially the throwbacks to Splatoon 1 story. And then because the Octo expansion was free on NSO, I decided to download that and start that story. And I did not like it. I did not like it's literally just little chambers of get the ball to the goal or survive for 30 seconds. I was like, this is boring. I'm just not enjoying this at all. So I thought I would like it. I did not, but I did try it. But then my big marathon, I went crazy here because Square Enix as a company does not like physical media lately. And so I decided to do this ginormous Square Enix / Final Fantasy marathon.
I'd say.
And I just go, hey, I'm going to go town. There were a lot of it on discounts. In fact, I think all of it was in discount, or I already owned it and I just never played it because it fell in the backlog. So to start off was a game called Paranormal Sight: The Seven Mysteries of Honjo, which came out last year. It's a visual novel, really cool visual novel. Uh, very, very. It's kind of like horror-esque in the sense. Pretty much the story is that there are these seven mysteries that have been going around for like eons, and on this one night at midnight, seven people who happen to be in a location where those mysteries are said to be get this talisman, and this talisman will allow you to grant one wish provided you collect enough souls. And you could either use the talisman to kill other random people, or if you kill another talisman holder, you wind up getting a lot of souls from that, plus any souls that they've accumulated. And the triggers to the talisman, you can't just like kill them. They different things, like if someone walks away from you, like you can now kill them. If someone has a lighter on them or anything that has to do with fire, gasoline, you could ignite them and have them burn alive. Like they're really specific, and it's about figuring out who has what talisman and what their trigger mechanics are. And if you don't know, it's like, oh, did I trigger it? Maybe I didn't trigger it. It's really interesting story with a bunch of different characters all like happening at the same time, and they intermingle. I do recommend giving it a check out. I will say the ending did not stick the landing 100% for me, which was the only negative, but it was still a fun game. Voice of Cards, the first game, the Isle That Dragons Roars was one of those games that I loved when it came out, and never played the sequels. So I changed that because I was waiting for a physical. It never happened. So the second game really was the Forsaken Maiden, probably the best of the three, but the longest. And the last one was the Beast of Burden. Each of these games have different mechanics. If you've never played them before, they are literally RPGs, turn-based RPGs using cards. It's like tabletop. Dice are rolled, for certain moves. The entire world is built on cards, so as you move, the cards flip over to show like a forest or gravel. It's incredible what they did. It's from Yoko Taro, who did the Nier games. There's a demo for the first game that is actually unique. It is a prequel to the first game. I do recommend these. If you've never played them before, check them out. If you like turn-based games, if you like tabletop style RPGs, two fantastic games. Doing them back to back was kind of a lot, but I'm glad I did it. Final Fantasy 15 is my least favorite of all the Final Fantasy games. I never finished it. I just didn't like it. So I decided to try the Pocket Edition HD that's on the Switch because it's more streamlined, and the one thing I didn't like about 15 was the gameplay. So I'm like, let me try this. And I liked it. A lot of people looked at it and said, oh, these graphics are terrible. And they're mobile games. So of course they're terrible. But it was fun. It was easy to do. It didn't take too long. It told the entire story. It made me appreciate 15 more for the story. And yeah, I do recommend it. It's a full-fledged Final Fantasy game. Uh, Speaking of Final Fantasy, Chocobo GP, a game that came out a while ago, was on sale, and I was like, well, I have the physical, but I know they changed it. It used to be like seasons and stuff. So I decided to pop it in to see if the physical would acknowledge that they've changed it, and it does. It downloads the new stuff. You can get all the characters now. It's no longer money. There's no money. You can get everything just by unlocking and racing. So I played some more like the circuits and stuff, and just had fun with it. It's just a good game, and I hope people give it a chance now. Another Final Fantasy game I never played really and definitely didn't beat, was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. The remastered port was lauded as being bad because you couldn't play locally, and I agree, that sucks. But as a single player, it was great. I got to play through the game and got through the ending, and it was a weird, quirky ending, and I liked it though. I mean, it had its charm. It's definitely not a game I'll go back to, but I'm glad to be able to do it. And one game I did not like in the last game for the Switch was the Collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legends. I loved Legends 3, on the Game Boy, but I never played the first two despite owning them. So I decided to start with the first one, and the first one is just, yeah, I was not in the mood set for it. I was like, oh my god, no, I'm just not in the mood set for archaic 8-bit, and Saga as well. Like, no, I tried. Well, I'll probably go back to it later, but no. But to continue the Final Fantasy trend on the PlayStation 4, I did Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, a game that I got at launch. I played to the first 2 chapters, and it made me sick because the motion control, like the not control, but the camera, like it was very quick, and it just made me nauseous, and it made a lot of other people nauseous. I said, you know what? I'm going to sit through it. I'm going to force myself through, and I did. And the game is okay, but it's one of those games that has 14 playable characters, and you need to level them all. And they do not level unless they're active, and you can only have 3 active at a time. So prepare for a lot of grinding, and that is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible game design. The story, it's dark. The story is good. The combat is good. The again, this is a PSP game, so it's not like huge worlds, but I didn't do everything. I didn't do all the side quests or anything like that because I was like, be level 53. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. No, I'm beating the game at 28, and I'm happy. But I did do that. A game I did do after I did Final Fantasy 15 was a King's Tale Final Fantasy 15. This was originally a pre-order bonus. It's a 2D beat 'em up, but it's now free. So if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, this game is free. It is a Streets of Rage style beat 'em up where you play as the some of the characters from 15 as a prequel, fighting Final Fantasy enemies. You could beat it in like 2 hours. It's not super huge, but there is some challenges afterwards. I just went through it again and had some fun. Crisis. Then I, because Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is coming out next month, I decided to finally go through and do the remake. But first, I went back and did Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, which is the remake of the PSP game, which I did years and years ago. Still holds up. Still a lot of fun. Still my favorite Final Fantasy 7 game was Crisis Core. But then I did a remake, and I did on the PS5, and it was good, but it's Final Fantasy Uncharted. It's more of an Uncharted game than it is a Final Fantasy game. There are scripted spots where you better crawl along here, and oh look, roofs are falling, and oh, it's very cinematic, and like we've seen this before. They fleshed out a lot. It is good. It is not, oh my god, amazing, and I would have liked to seen it the entire game in one release, but I am looking forward to see what they do because they changed the story, and the ending was a very, like, I'm a very like, I like multiverses. I like things that turn everything on their head, and the ending definitely turned it on its head. And I was like, ooh, I'm intrigued. So I am interested to see where it goes. I also did Intergrade, or I did Intermission, I mean, which is the side story that was PS5 exclusive with Yuffie. That was short. I wound up doing that. And demos. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink had a demo. It comes out this week. So I did the demo to unlock items. And finally, to finish off on my Final Fantasy marathon, Final Fantasy 14 on PC, 6.55 Part 2 launched after FanFest, the final story before Dawn Trail. So I did that, did the last Hildebrand, did all the last missions and story content. A lot of fun. Really excited for where they go with here. And finally, a game called Scarlet Tower on the PC I messed around with, which is like Vampire Survivors. And finally, to cap it all off, Mario Kart Tour. I'm still doing Mario Kart Tour on mobile. There you go.
There you
and
go.
You stayed around for the whole thing.
You did. Barry, get yourself a drink of water.
There you go. Yeah, no drinks that entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, just
We
real quick, but it is worth mentioning that the Advance Wars 1+2 kind of is like that. I guess what you were saying about the recollection thing, you can't access Advance Wars 2 until you complete the
oh,
story on Advance Wars 1.
hmm,
So I don't know if
Interesting.
so like that is part of it there. Like you actually unlock it after you beat Advance Wars 1,
hmm,
then you could do 2, but you can still replay any missions in 1, and it's like a still completely different like
hmm.
button that you select in the menu. So like it's
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Oh,
almost kind of treating it
another
like
code.
one game, I guess. Then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, another code is not like that. Like you in the menu, it's start new or load. So you start new, you go back to the beginning of the first game. So they even though it's two games, and it does say like in the loading, it says like another code, two memories, and another code like journey into
Mm,
lost memories or whatever. It'll show you that to differentiate between the two games, but they're treating it as like one big experience.
hmm. Interesting. Go in the chat real quick. It looks like Jim from Pure Nintendo is joining us in the chat. Said that been playing or just finished Super Mario RPG last week and loved it. So again, if you have not been playing, or if you've not let us know in the chat what you've been playing, please let us know. Also said that just this minute got an email from Nintendo reminding them to play another code, just as we were talking about it. So again, we are speaking things into existence. Who
Yeah.
knows? We may say a direct, and then it'd be pop up next tomorrow or the next week. So
Maybe.
who knows what's
Jem
gonna
is
happen?
really an awesome person. Pure Nintendo's a really good group too. They put out a physical magazine. I've been on their podcast a couple times, so definitely give them some love too. And great for to have you here, Jem. She's on the other side of the world. She's down under.
Mm. Oh,
So it's
wow.
great that she's able to make it. Jem's awesome.
Nice. So I have no idea how to do that kind of math in my head that quick. So let me know what time it is. Is it like 7 a.m.? Are they a full like 12 hours ahead of us? I don't really know. Or I guess me. You guys are different time zones than me too. So
Yeah, we're all different time zones.
we are. We are. She's just a little further away.
She's in the future.
Yes, that's it. Let us know how the rest of 2024 is. Maybe she's gonna know how our predictions are gonna go because she's ahead. Yeah. So what I've been playing, Barry, you reminded me. I also played Suika game as well, and yeah, because Nintendo was doing a free demo of it if you were an NSO member, and so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll download it. And I've tried to do those with other games, but this one I actually was able to download it and play it within the allotted time slot, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was quirky, and I'd never heard of it before the demo or the trial time or whatever. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think you can get it for mobile as well. And so it was like this kind of seems like something I'll probably play on mobile
Yeah.
instead of my Switch. But it was fun to get into it, and I had a blast with it. And then I also played Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. As Barry alluded to earlier, we did a full review on our game chat here on our YouTube channel, so you can definitely check that out and hear all of what we thought about the game. Spoiler alert, we love it. And then also Tears of the Kingdom, played a little more of that. Played some Jackbox games, of course, over the holidays with my family. Played a lot of Rocket League, and I did place a little bit of Fortnite, but it is not as like I remember when Lego Fortnite and when Rocket Racing first came out, I played very little Rocket League and I went over to Fortnite and I was playing it a ton. And I actually haven't played it for the last like 3 weeks. So I put it on my list like when I played it the last time, and I forgot that it was even on my list because I haven't played it in so long. So I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did play some Fortnite. Most of the time, I'm hopping into Lego Fortnite when I jump in there because it's just really fun. And then played some Pokemon Go, playing that almost as much as I was at another time in my life, like right as soon as it came out, and a little bit of Clash Royale, but not a whole lot. Let's see. Going back to the chat, Jim says also really loves Mario Kart Tour, and didn't know anybody else playing it. So you and Jim are playing it, at least keeping it going.
Yeah, I'm slowly watching my friends stop playing it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like on my friends list, I'm like, no, stop, play more.
Nice.
Yeah, because they're done with the quality of life updates on that, right?
They're done
just
with
switching
adding new content.
or
It's
new
just
content. I mean,
the
yeah.
tour the tours are still happening. You can still rank up. There's still new races every single 2 weeks, um, and that's great. So it's like if you haven't played in a while, you have access to so many tracks and so many cars and everything. And just don't spend money on it and just play. That's what I do.
Yeah. I still can't get into the control. I didn't like it before. I tried it a couple months ago and was like, nope, don't like it. Not a big
Yeah,
fan.
that was my big thing. And then even like my fiance had gotten like I don't know, like an official Mario Kart wheel for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and like yeah, it kind of adds the realism to the driving, but like I still didn't really like the motion controls on Wii, so I'm very much like using just the Pro controller is more than enough for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't even like playing Mario Kart that much. I mean, it's a fun experience, but in the arcade, like the Mario Kart GP games, like I do so much better with an analog stick driving Mario Kart. Now, if I had in other racing games, I do better if I had a wheel. But in Mario Kart, it just feels better with an analog stick. I don't know what it is, but so
She gave
Jim
you
said it's
time, by the
Tuesday.
way.
It's already Tuesday. It's 12:50
Well,
lunchtime. So more than 12 hours ahead. That's crazy. Man, well, enjoy your lunch. I just ate dinner not too long ago, but enjoy your lunch. Well, like we said earlier, we're going to be getting into our predictions from last year, but also this year. But we are also switching up our order of events here in the podcast. So before we jump into those predictions, we're going to jump into some news headlines, and there have been several over the last few weeks since our last episode. So, Greg, how about you kick us off?
Yeah, so for anyone still playing the mobile game for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, the Sanrio characters collection have returned. So if you missed out on these, you can get a chance to download them again. And if you're still playing and missed out on before, so it's obviously great that they brought them back. So don't miss out while they're still here for a limited time.
And our friends over at Eastasiasoft had a brand new showcase for the new year, focusing on games for January, February, and March and early 2024. Luckily, there hasn't been a lot of games in this one that Steve would not like, so we're off to a good start for the new year. So they showed off Hakuoki Chronicles of Wind and Blossom. The physical's available right now for pre-order, but that's coming later this year. Zhuangyan Sword 7 is coming in the spring for Switch. That's incredible that game's coming to Switch. Really excited for it. Fallen City Brawl is on Steam in early 2024. And Nefertiti's is on January 17th, so that's out already on Switch. Turret Rampage is on the 31st of January for Switch. Dungeonoid 2 Awakening comes February 7th for Switch. Genie Reprise on Valentine's Day, February 14th. But that's PS5 and Xbox. That should come to Switch maybe. Then we got Steve's favorite game, Pretty Girls Klondike Solitaire Plus, February 15th, right after Valentine's Day. Perfect for him and his wife to play. That is coming to the Switch. Froggy, a retro platformer, is on February 21st, coming to the Switch. A game I'm excited for is Onyan Sword, The Gate of Firmament is coming to PS5, so hopefully this now will come to the Switch after. Violet Westeria on March 2024 for the Switch. 10 Seconds to Win, also in March for the Switch. Roxy Raccoon's Pinball Panic is coming in early 2024. Sunny Cafe is in March as well. And finally, Richmond 11 is not coming to the Switch. Unfortunately, that is in March. That is coming for other platforms. But maybe we'll see it on Switch as well.
Nice. Yeah, grateful for that, except for, yeah, I'm not going to be getting into that game. There very things I will.
Solitaire Plus.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Tetris. We've had a kill screen in Tetris NES for the very first time. In fact, since then, we've had 3 kill screens, I believe. There may have been some more since then, but the first one to ever get it was a 13-year-old named Willis Gibson. He posted this video on January 1st of this year. He goes by the name Blue Scooty online and achieved the first ever kill screen, at least that's been recorded. And since then, it's like I said, it's been happening at least 2 other times and faster and further levels and everything. So it's one of those things that just kind of, who knows what's going to happen once this goal has been achieved. Who knows where it's going to go from that point on. But just a side note, kind of our heart and our thoughts go out to Blue Scooty, because he apparently had just lost his father on December 14th of this last year. And so for him to, probably going through some really hard times going through that, and then all of a sudden score this kill screen on a game he loves, it's got to be a roller coaster of emotion, but really, really happy for him after some really hard times.
Unfortunately, a sadder note, there's another thing along those lines. MatPat announced on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it these days that he is going to be kind of transitioning all 4 of his channels over to some like people he trusts the most. So it kind of sees like a trend of like other YouTubers just kind of stepping down, that some of the ones that have been around for pretty much like since like it's YouTube's inception. So obviously it's really appreciate all those awesome theories that Matt's done over the years, and just obviously wish him the best and finally enjoy some time off. But maybe that's just a theory, a family theory, I guess.
And on a better, brighter note, Nintendo acknowledges Golden Sun. I alluded to it before, but yes, Nintendo has said Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age are now available on the NSO app for the GBA, so you need the expansion pass. They launched on January 16th, so they are available now, and I highly recommend you play them and show Nintendo we want more Golden Sun.
Nice. Atari 50 just keeps going. So not only are they adding games, they have recently announced that Atari has partnered up with a company called Microids, and they recorded their 50th anniversary and soundtrack, and they're going to be releasing that very soon on a special vinyl release on Record Store Day this year. And I believe that is April 17th for this year. So you can get your copy of the vinyl of the Atari 50 soundtrack.
Anyone looking to expand their virtual Nintendo Switch library, Nintendo has a big sale and deal going on. For some games you can get up to 67% off. So not all games are up to that major discount, but there is some really good sales going on if you wish to jump in on some games that you haven't had before. So there's like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Persona 5 Tactic, and Red Dead Redemption, and like also the Splatoon 3 for Barry to check out the game and the expansion pass. And so there's all sorts of good deals going on. Be sure to check it out if you're interested in picking up some of these great games at a lower discounted price.
Speaking of great games, Nintendo revealed a brand new trailer for Princess Peach Showtime, a transformation trailer, which focused on Ninja and Cowgirl, which joined Sword Fighter, Detective, Patseri, and Kung Fu as different transformations Peach can take. But that's not all. They also showed off Pastel Pink Joy-Cons will be available. So you could really glam up your Switch just in time for Princess Peach to take over.
And maybe some of those games that are on sale that Greg talked about could be AAA clock. Just a funny story that our friend over on Nintendo over on Twitch, he put together, there's apparently 17 copies of AAA clock on the Nintendo eShop. And so he did a rating of all of them. And apparently some of his favorites include Ultra Superb Edition, Endless Time Edition, and Ultra Definitive Edition at the top of the list. But at the very bottom was the Ultra Special Edition. So if you're looking to get the AAA clock, stay away from the Ultra Special Edition.
So the rumor mills are going crazy with everything coming up for the Nintendo Switch 2 and other things going on. So apparently Nintendo has re-upped some patents on some of the GameCube controllers back in the United Kingdom. So fans are speculating that maybe GameCube games might be coming to Nintendo Switch Online, or maybe there's some other stuff around that, like with the Smash Brothers anniversary and use of the GameCube controller and stuff in all the versions of Smash and Melee. So I guess perhaps it's coming, or maybe they're just re-upping them just because that's what they usually do over when the patents are going to expire. But I guess won't know for sure.
And if you thought Eastasiasoft was alone with these presentations this year thus far, Aksys Games says, hold my beer. All Aksys 2024 is going to be held on February 1st. That's just in like 2 days. It's going to happen at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That is what, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern time. Updates, new game announcements, and more. So we'll see what Aksys Games has in store for the Switch in just a few days.
And if you're like me and you've wanted to go to a Zelda concert, but you just haven't been able to make that happen and you thought you missed your chance, Nintendo is going to be releasing a recording of one of the concerts on February 9th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. Eastern time, and 1 p.m. I think that's Greenwich time. And you can head over to their Nintendo YouTube channel to watch this pre-recorded performance. And so it's not the same as being in the room, but for those of you like me who missed out on the official concert and getting to go in person, this is your way of being able to actually partake in that and experience it. So February 9th, and mark your calendars and head over to their YouTube to check it out. So lots of different news stories, lots of different types of news stories going on. Some silly, some crazy, some fun. But Greg, what are your thoughts on any or all of these stories?
I thought it was really incredible that somebody actually reached like the kill screen on Tetris, because obviously there was a lot of people like in the speedrunning community and such saying that it's not really possible because you really need like the tool assisted stuff to be able to achieve that. But it seems like it's finally been broken open to, as you even mentioned, there's been 2 other players to do it since in this month alone. So I imagine we'll be seeing that climb up as maybe they finally figured out the strategy to do so. So that's very incredible that that kid has that honor, and he should wear that badge very proudly, I think. Obviously, it's pretty sad that MatPat is stepping down, but as I was kind of alluding to, a number of other YouTubers are also stepping down, so maybe just that's their time, and he does illustrate how much time he puts into each of the theories and how he's like the main like narrator for all of them, and he's done his due time, and now he needs some time off. So it's fully understandable, and he'll obviously be missed, but it's just something that's what's best for his health and his family. It's always great to see new sales and stuff on the Switch. Probably won't be really picking up too many of the ones on there because I pretty much have most of the games I want at this point. I was thinking of hustling for the Pastel Pink Joy-Cons, another set that he's got to order, because I know he was an avid Joy-Con collector to get all the colors and combinations. So that his wallet will be crying for that. Yeah, and then for the GameCube games coming, I don't know if I don't think these patents are alluding to that directly, but it's who's to say that they still won't release their own version of the app. I mean, we won't really know unless they make a formal announcement on it. So it can be seen either way. Right now, I'm thinking that it was just the re-upping the patent, just because that's kind of how they do things. They continue, like if it's going to expire, then they just have to renew it, and it just is to maintain it and not let it go defunct and let somebody else use the name and make their own like GameCube console or whatever, at least in this case. But yeah.
Cool. Barry, what do you think about all these stories?
I mean, the 13-year-old, like, I was watching a whole video on the Tetris thing, like behind the scenes and like the spreadsheets people had in with the what would trigger a kill screen, and it's really fascinating. The techniques used, and like there's a lot to it. So I did a deep dive into it, and that was really cool to see. And I recommend anyone just check into that if you're interested. Happy again about Golden Sun, for sure. Happy to see what Eastasiasoft showed off. There's a lot of good games there. I'm really into the Swanyan Sword series now. We just reviewed the third game that came to the Switch. So definitely check that out on our site. Excited for All Access 2024. I'm just curious to see what they do, as well as the Zelda concert. I did get to go to Ballad of the Goddess one time, and it was fantastic. So I know they're not doing that tour anymore, and because I think I did the first quest. I don't think I did the second. And so it'd be interesting to see, just all the new Zelda music that has come since I did it, just to see what they do. So I'll be checking that out. I'm already excited for Princess Peach Showtime, so I didn't even need the trailer, and I'm not going to get the pink Joy-Cons. So I do feel for Hassan, who does need to get them now. So sorry, not sorry. And the whole GameCube thing, like Nintendo ups trademarks all the time. It doesn't mean anything, But GameCube could come to NSO down the road. Who knows?
It's true. It's true. We'll see if we predict it in just a bit. But yeah, moving on. Thoughts for me, I'd say, yeah, don't play Pocket Camp anymore, but excited for people to do. Eastasiasoft, I'm just proud of them for not, having a bunch of games that are just pretty girls, whatever, over and over and over again. They actually varied it up this time, so I was happy. There's not a ton of them that I was like, oh man, I got to get this game, but it was great to see a bunch of various different types of games, other than just solitaire with anime people that I have very little clothing on. Anyway, so yeah, the Tetris thing is just it's amazing me. Like, I've watched some documentaries on people playing Tetris, like all these different versions, and I'm amazed by like everything about it, like how much people have studied the different styles of playing it versus whether you're actually playing it like normal, or you're doing the tapping method, or all these different things, how to get their stop or T what's they called T spins and all this stuff in, and all these different ways they've studied this game. And to see a 13-year-old like get it, and then he's on all the news stations and everything, it was just really cool for that to happen as well. And now it's just like it keeps happening, so who knows where it's going to go from there. 50th anniversary for the vinyl for Atari 50. I've been checking out the record store day the last couple of years, and so if they have one, I might have to pick that up. I don't know if I'll ever listen to it, but it's kind of just a cool collectible vinyl to get. And let's see, I'm just thinking of other things that are on there. All Access, it'd be cool to see what they put out there. And I am, as I've said earlier, I'm super excited about the Zelda concert, at least being able to see the recording of it, because I did not get to see that in person, even though I really, really wanted to, but just was not able to. So, well, that brings us to the end of our headlines section and our news discussion, but we are just getting started because we're going to look at our predictions. And so let's look back at 2023 first. And so if you missed our episode last year, this is a fun thing that we do at the beginning of every year. I think since we started the podcast, I think we've been doing this pretty much every year, that we give our yearly predictions. We toss out 5 predictions that we think will happen, or where some of them are lofty goals, or things that we're excited for, we hope that happen, but others are just kind of shots in the dark based on what we've seen before. We're kind of all over the place. And so before we jump into 2024, we always think it's fun to look back at 2023 and see how we did. So Greg, do you want to go first and let us know how you did with 2023?
Sure. So overall, as a whole, I gave myself pretty much one full point. I got a half point from my third prediction, and I'm giving myself a half point for the 5th prediction, but I can just justify that here in a little bit. So the first one, I thought we would see the Switch successor this year. Obviously, that didn't happen. that was an easy one to cross out. I also was saying that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 or the trilogy would be released over this last year, which neither of those happened. We just got the first one. First, for my third one, I had already at a half point when it initially we did our podcast, because they had already announced the Game Boy Advance games coming via the Nintendo Switch Online, like at the time that we recorded it. And then I also was thinking they would do the GameCube app that we just literally just spoke about. The headlines still making the rounds this time around this year, but so that's where I gave half point there. My fourth prediction, I was going to say there was going to be like another like Mario spin-off game, whether it's a Mario Party or even a Mario sports game. We did not get either of those, so full on no point there. And then my final prediction for last time was we would get like a kind of like one of those I called it like a weird title, kind of like a weird spin-off game we didn't know that we wanted, kind of in the vein of like, oh, here's like Metroid Prime, like Federation Force kind of thing, or like Animal Crossing's Happy Home Designer type thing, where it's used like a major thing and for there. And then I was putting that Peach game as that one because I don't think anyone really expected Peach to have her own full starting game here, and I only did like a half point because it didn't release in 2023. We only found out about it in 2023. So I was giving myself a little bit of credit for at least kind of saying that, like, yes, they did have like an unusual spin-off game that was essentially, I guess, like a new series or whatever, like a sub-series of an existing mainline game.
Okay. Barry, how about you?
Yeah, so my first prediction was a new Switch will be announced but not launched this year. So I predicted the new Switch for 2024, but it would be announced in 2023. It did not get announced in 2023. It might come out in 2024, but it did not get announced in 2023. So I guess that could technically become a half point. It could be a half point, maybe, depending on what this year holds. But right now it's 0. My second prediction was a new Mario title would be announced. I was basing that off of the fact that the Mario movie was coming out, and I was right. They just didn't announce it for the Mario movie, but Mario Wonder did get announced and released. So I even said announced. It was announced, but it also came out. So I give myself a point for that one. Technically, we also got Mario RPG as well, but that's more of a remake. On 3, I said we'll see at least one more Wii/Wii U port from Nintendo or second parties, and we did not from Nintendo or second parties, not a Wii or Wii U. Although Kirby, I guess I can give myself a point for that, right? Kirby Return to Dreamland came out last year. That is a Wii port. So yeah, I guess that is. So that's 2. I forgot about Kirby. It's an enhance. It's actually more than a port.
Yeah.
Because they added the extra thing, the Malagor, whatever it was. Number 4, I said we'll see what Retro's been doing since Tropical Freeze. That's a fat goose egg. I mean, poor Retro. I had so high hopes for you. You were the chosen one. And then 5, I said NSO will add more systems to both tiers, maybe more DLC to Expansion Pass, maybe Breath of the Wild DLC near Tears of the Kingdom launch, for example. They did not add new DLC, but they did add Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance too. So both tiers did get it, but no DLC. So I'll give myself a half a point for that. So I got 2.5.
2.5. Nice. I got 2 points, but I was also really simple last year because I was going for points, and so I didn't put myself like really out there. So these are 2 points, but they're 2 weak points. I'll admit they're 2 weak points. But I said that there would be a new Switch model, but no Switch 2 or Switch Pro this year, and I don't think we didn't get the new Switch model. I'm not giving myself a half point for that because it's a weak prediction. So maybe you could consider it a half point. I'm not giving myself a half point for that. I also said that Metroid Prime Trilogy would come out, but not 4 because I packaged those together. I'm not giving myself a half point for that either. 0 points for me so far. I did say that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance would come out on Switch Online, and I remember last year we wrote these and then we recorded the episode after they were already announced. So I knew that one was a guarantee, even. But I did promise I did write it before they were announced. So I got a point on that one. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be delayed at least once. It actually wasn't delayed anymore last year. I was really surprised on that, and I said that Advance Wars would finally get released, and it finally did. So, and Greg's beat it. So,
Yep.
yeah, I got 2 points. I could have worked in a couple half points in there as well, but they were all very weak predictions. I played it safe last year, and so I'll give myself 2 points. But I decided to go a little more ambitious this year because I saw myself as very, very weak last year. So I'm a
Same.
little more ambitious this year. So similar to how we have done it in the past and similar to our game of the year, we're going to go through the list and we can go in whatever order. We don't have like a top 5 or anything like that. So pick whatever one you want and we'll just go through one prediction at a time for each of us until we've each shared all 5 of our predictions for 2024. And then after that, we'll talk about what games we are excited about that are coming out this year as well. But let's hop into 2024 predictions. Greg, kick us off with your first one.
All right. So I think it was a few years ago that I initially made this prediction. So I was be reviving it as I pretty much kind of feel that the Switch is kind of having its kind of like swan song type year. So it's with the successor so much closer on the horizon. So I was going to revamp this one to say the Fire Emblem Echoes is probably going to be finally coming back around. They'll be re-releasing one of the older Japan-only games, like kind of like remastering that Echo style like they did for the Nintendo 3DS, but obviously be a different older Japanese Fire Emblem game. So that was the first one I'll kick this one off at with one of my safer ones.
Okay. I can see that happen.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Especially because we got engaged last year. So teams, that was early last year, it was January. So what are they doing? So like you, Steve, I decided my last year ones were pretty basic. They were pretty general. I'm going to go way specific, and it's probably going to bite me in the butt. I'm probably going to get no points because of it, or half points because of it. But I wanted to go specific. I thought it would have be a little fun with this. So here's my first one, and I'm getting the big one out of the way right away. Switch 2 will be announced and launched this year. I said the announcement will come in the spring or summer, depending on when Luigi's Mansion 2 or Paper Mario's release date is. They might want to get those games out before they make the announcement. The system will launch in September or October. It will feature more power, at minimum base PS4 or Xbox One, more likely PS4 Pro or Xbox One X. Some chance that it's going to have the power of a PS5 or Xbox Series X, maybe the S, but I hope it does. To cut costs, however, it will go back to the LCD screen. The system will be fully backwards compatible with the Switch. However, not content with a more powerful Switch, Nintendo will add some form of gimmick, which will seem neat for the first few seconds, then will be largely ignored by every third party and Nintendo after a few releases, much like pretty much all of their systems.
I was like, is this a prediction or a history lesson?
All right.
Well, I think history is doomed to repeat, right? So I think
That's
Nintendo
true.
is going to repeat itself.
Okay.
Yeah, they always have some gimmick that works out pretty well in their favor, but then there's always that one that just gets completely sidetracked, like the 3D slider and the 3DS. It's like it was great for the first whatever few games you played with it, and then it primarily was off.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch, the Joy-Cons themselves, like the IR camera and the HD rumble, like most games don't use that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like WarioWare, Super Mario Party, like a 1-2 switch. I think that's it.
Yep.
It was dropped instantly. Oh, and the
Mhm.
kickstand. I mean, some people may use it, but like they made that like a huge feature, and I was like, how many people use the kickstand on a daily basis? Like,
You
really?
don't
I'm sure
gather
there's one
with
or
your
two.
friends over at the basketball
Or a
courts
roof.
and play
Yeah.
on a small
No.
6-inch screen
No.
instead of
Or
actually
on a
playing
roof
basketball.
party.
Yeah.
No, none of that. So Nintendo's known for doing things like that. So I predict they're gonna do something where it's like the announcement is gonna be like, oh, that's so cool. Why has no one ever done that before? And then you play one game and no one does it anymore. And oh, that's why no one's done it before, because no one
Yeah.
really wants it.
Nice. Well, that is a very specific prediction there you have there, Barry. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. I'm gonna save my hardware related one for later. I've got actually a couple little tease there, but I'm gonna jump into my first one. Is that there will be a new 3D Mario game announced, but it will be announced for the next console. And so it's not necessarily, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be even launching this year. It's just going to be announced for the next console. And it will combine aspects of both Odyssey and Wonder together, which I think are two of the biggest Mario games that they put out in recent years, both very much loved. And so we'll have aspects, maybe Cappy returns, but then they'll also work in the Wonder Seeds, and somehow they're going to combine aspects of both of those games together. I don't know if there's like officially like doing that, but you will see definitely strong ties to both games in this new 3D Mario game.
No Bowser's Fury as well?
I don't think so. No, I think just Odyssey and Wonder is when I'm gonna play it out. Yeah, because Bowser's Fury is good, but it was an add-on. I don't know. I don't know if it was really. I think it was just a 3D World add-on, and I think they've moved past the cat style and all those sort of things. I think they're gonna move forward. Odyssey was well received. Wonder people like. Let's put those two games somehow combine those in one. But not for this current Switch. It's going to be for the next one. All right, Greg, number 2.
All right. Well, seeing as that my initial one that I listed as number 1 on my sheet was pretty close to Barry's number 1, I might as well just not overlap that too much. Then we can all thoroughly discuss it once we get to Steve's Switch 2 announcement. But I also had made a Switch 2 prediction. I was going to say was going to be announced within between March and August of this year, and then also release between September and November of this year. So targeting that possibly early holiday, late holiday release. I was also had a note saying I was going to be fully backwards compatible with the Nintendo Switch library, which also includes the Nintendo Switch Online. So all those apps will be carried over, and even the save states and all that stuff that you previously had on your Nintendo account will be transferred over. So that was kind of where my thoughts went with the Switch 2. Is I was thinking that usually it's right after their first fiscal quarter thing in March that they might make the supposed announcement, just to make sure all the holiday sales and stuff are all cleared up. And I really don't see it coming in this first Nintendo Direct, but it would be a separate presentation event that would be to announce it in general, kind of how they did the NXTs and then the full on Switch presentation in January of 2017. So that was kind of my thoughts on the Switch 2 announcements and features. I didn't dive deep into saying graphical compatibilities or LCDs. That stuff does seem I've been following the rumors, and that stuff has been kind of on the forefront, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was just straight up just copying somebody else's full on specific tech specs of it. But
okay,
yeah,
nice. And when did you say it's going to launch? Did you say?
I was saying launching September through November, all the way up to that Black Friday kind of as an end date. I mean, nice. I feel like it might be more September, because then it gives a lot of prep time into the holiday season. But I did want to leave at least some wiggle room, because I felt like even October, even early November could still suffice as well too, to grab in the holiday steals there. So,
gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess I'll allow it. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
To kind of piggyback off of you, because you mentioned something, so I'm going to go with the NSO. I have an NSO prediction. I feel NSO is going to evolve for the Switch 2. I feel the basic tier is going to gain the Sega Master System, the Sega Game Gear, and Nintendo's Game & Watch, while the expansion pass is going to gain GameCube, TurboGrafx 16, and the Sega CD or 32X, maybe both. These games, however, may not work for the original Switch as an incentive for people to jump to the new hardware, but most likely being older games will apply to everybody. This, however, will make the price jump $5 each tier. So they might be pushed to it as incentive, but I could also see them saying everybody can use them, because the Switch obviously can run Game Gear games. It's not an issue. But I want bold. I want to swing for the fences. I want to see some real good love for the NSO, because to be honest, they've been trickling out games what have they been doing this whole time? There's got to be a team. So I want to see them swing for the fences, and all, TurboGrafx was on Virtual Console. Game Gear, I believe, was Virtual Console. They've never done Sega CD or 32X. Let's do that. And I think Game & Watch would be fun. Like, everyone's saying GameCube. What about the Game & Watch? Like, there's a huge library of games most people haven't played, and they could easily throw those up there.
Yeah. It'd be definitely great to get all that stuff. I mean, what if they just rolled out all of the Virtual Console and it just all of a sudden became available? Like, that'd be pretty incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah, they totally need that Smash announcement. Everything is here.
Yeah. That'd be great. Well, I thought mine was ambitious in terms of an NSO prediction, but it's not nearly as ambitious as Barry's. But I did say that agreeing with part of yours, I said that there's going to be another non-Nintendo console library added to NSO, similar to Genesis and stuff like that. So I don't know what it is going to be. Barry went more specific than I did on that, but I'd say at least one more non-Nintendo console is going to be added to the Switch NSO, I'll say. So not necessarily shooting for the next console or whatever. This is going to be coming out for the Switch to give it a little more life this year. They're going to bring another non-Nintendo console to the NSO. So, all right, Greg, number 3.
All right, so I know I think you guys already did some Switch 2 launch stuff, so I did have another prediction along those lines, so I will piggyback off of that initial discussion to get that one out of the way too. I was initially feeling that the next Mario Kart game will be a launch title. I don't know if they'll count it as 9. I even know Barry's going to say, "Oh, Tour is 9." So I don't know if they'll actually name it 9 or if they will just skip to 10. I have both of them listed there because I don't know what they'll actually call it. So I was figuring that Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever the next mainline system game, will be a launch title. I also felt that we're going to get some sort of Zelda launch title as well. But I did put a caveat on this, saying it would be, if it's a new game, it would be a 2D Zelda one, or and then if there were the other launch title, if it's going to be there, would be a remaster remake, which would include like Twilight Princess, like that one they already did for Wii U, along with like Ocarina of Time. And then my final part of this was that Metroid Prime 4 is also going to be a launch title and also be released on the OG Switch. So I felt like the Metroid Prime 4 will be have that Breath of the Wild treatment and released both on Switch and the Switch successor.
Wow. So that's a strong launch lineup.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you kind of went into 2 of mine. I'm trying to see.
I know.
But,
yeah, you guys, we just
so
keep going in the same direction. Yeah.
yeah. So
he's kind of stole my thunder with the Switch 2. So I was like,
exactly.
I need to get my like other Switch 2 one knocked out of the park here, so I can be the.
So I'm gonna go with my Metroid Prime because I think we all have Metroid Prime prediction at this point. It's pretty obvious. Metroid Prime 4, I said, finally, after over 5 years of being restarted, will make an appearance in some capacity. A launch title for the Switch 2, a holiday title for the Switch 2, a new logo with some glitter and a message, please look forward to it. Who knows? This game is going to be addressed this year somehow, some way. So I can't get. I don't know exactly, but it has to be addressed as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Well, I'll follow trend. Like Barry's prediction of us all having a Metroid Prime 4 prediction is accurate. So you get a bonus point there. Yeah, I do have one. This is a almost repeat from 2023. I'm going to say that Metroid Prime Trilogy will release this year for the Switch. It's going to happen for the Switch, while Prime 4 will be announced for the next console. So it is skipping the Switch altogether. They're just jumping to the next console, but it will not be a launch title. So there's a chance that we may not even get it this year at all. So it'd be announced, hey, this is coming out for the next one. Look forward to it. We'll give you more details later. So that's my combined Metroid Prime, or Metroid, Prime 1 through 3 is going to come out this year for the Switch. Prime 4 in the future for next console.
Even though one already did come out, we got one remastered last year.
Yep, I think there'd be that trilogy thing. So
Here's the same game again.
yeah, they do that, and they'll probably
How many
package it
times-
together, but they'll have it separate games on the eShop. They do that sort of thing. So yeah,
How many
we will
times has
have
Mario
the
All Stars
trilogy.
released?
Exactly. So we will have the trilogy together, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they repackage it again in a trilogy pack. So,
And it's just the Wii port.
Probably.
The Wii game ported over.
It's just going to be on NSO. So, all right, Greg. Wait, we on number 4? Is that right? Number 3, 4?
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever we're on. Yep.
Since I'm still visiting Crazy Town, I'll save my last safe one for the very last one. So I'll go with my last kind of out there prediction. I was thinking that we'll probably see a franchise revival type game. So I don't know if it's gonna be like a remastered version of like F-Zero GX, or maybe we'll get Kid Icarus HD, or maybe we'll even get like a new Punch Out game. But pretty much it was like a caveat of like a pretty much like a franchise that hasn't really seen a new entry since at least since GameCube or Wii, just has kind of skipped a few generations here. So I was thinking that we might be like a remaster of like one of those older games, or perhaps like a brand new entry in one of those like older series that hasn't seen a game in quite some time.
Nice. That'd be great.
I actually have something very similar. So piggyback off of that, I said Nintendo will continue this trend to revive older IPs with a new game. They previously did Famicom Detective Clubs, Advanced Wars, and now another Code. Well, I'd love to say Star Tropics. I'm not holding my breath. Realistically, F-Zero, thanks to 99 success. Star Fox is About Time, or even Golden Sun, thanks to the first 2 games getting praise on NSO. Kid Icarus also has a chance to come back if Sakurai wishes it to happen.
I could definitely see Golden Sun. That'd be a fun one to come back, and Kid Icarus could be. So a new Kid Icarus, not just like a remake of the 3DS one.
It could be Uprising HD, but
Okay.
Kid Icarus in some. I mean, Uprising was what, 2011,
It's a while
2012.
ago.
It was a long time. It was over a decade ago. It's past due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely have to be kind of a remastered version because of the controls and everything. But
yeah, I just left it open just to be open ended. I didn't want to get super specific on some of that.
Yeah. All right, so it's come time. I'm gonna make my hardware prediction, and spoiler, I've got 2 hardware predictions. So my next 2 are going to be both hardware related. But the first one is, as much as I really wanted to make the prediction that the next console is going to come out in 2025, I decided not to be that crazy. But I did say, which I thought was going to be a little crazy, and then both of you guys basically said the same thing, that it's going to come out in the later part of this year. So I did say like holiday. I say early holiday season 2024. They are going to announce it a little earlier, but then it will be launching later this year in the early part of the holiday season to get ahead of that, and then be the big thing this holiday. And I agree with you guys, with what we've been seeing and stuff like that. But the one thing that I also included in that is that it will be, like I said, almost, I'm going to say like 98% backward compatible. Like they're going to make that jump and make it happen, which will make a lot of gamers excited, because I know Xbox and PlayStation haven't always been, that backward compatible, and so they're going to be jumping ahead. This is going to be the first time that their entire eShop is going to be jumping ahead. They'll do that same thing with the NSO. Hopefully they'll continue to make it better. I like Barry's prediction about expanding like that. I would love to see all the virtual console stuff as well. I'm not being bold enough to say that is exactly what's going to happen. I would absolutely love it. But I will say that everything that is pretty much everything, with very, very few exceptions, will be backward compatible on this next system. And it's going to be coming out, early part of the holiday season this year. All right, Greg, final prediction.
All right. So I at least consider this one a safe one. I don't know if it necessarily is by all sense and standards of it, but I felt like we were going to get another like character crossover type game. So it's basically like another like third party kind of taking like linking in one of the existing characters, almost in vein of like how Link was in Soul Calibur 2 type situation. So it's almost like one of Nintendo's like main franchise characters getting put into like a third party series of some kind. So
Okay.
that's kind of where I was at. I was almost picturing that they might do another Soul Calibur type thing with like possibly Link being included again, or I don't know, but I didn't really call it any specific game that would use it. I just felt like it was almost that time of the life cycle where they usually try to like, okay, well, we're nice and whatever, Mario can make an appearance over here, or Donkey Kong can go over there, or whatever type thing, or Star Fox, whatever.
Okay. I gotta ask though, would another Mario and Rabbids game count for that?
At least I don't.
Because I see it happening again. But would that count
Oh,
since
really?
it's an ongoing franchise? I wouldn't be surprised if they put out another Mario and Rabbids game. I don't know if it'll happen
It
this
did.
year.
The second one did poorly, and in fact, Nintendo actually told Ubisoft they were stupid for doing another one because you only do one of a franchise on a system, otherwise you cannibalize each other. And
Right. I don't know if it would be for the system this year or this and everything, but I wouldn't. I'm actually. I don't think I heard that.
oh yeah,
But
Nintendo's advised them against it, and they still did it
wow.
anyway.
I knew a lot of
Yeah,
people liked Sparks of Hope a lot better
I
than
love
the other
Sparks of
one.
Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically I would probably count something like that, but I don't really see like Mario and Rabbids 3 or by anything being announced or released this year.
Starling 2.
That would be good. Especially if I
And
can
it
use
is
all those toys I have sitting back there.
Yeah.
all the non-amiibo things.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
that
the
was the best
R-Wing.
Star Fox game in years, damn it.
It was pretty great. Yeah. And I got an R-Wing out of it, so that's pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I mean, it's essentially I was essentially just being like a crossover game. I know like the
Yep.
3DS had tons of crossover games. It was like, oh, Project X Zone and this cross that, and Pokemon cross Pokemon or Nobunaga's
Professor
Ambition.
Layton cross Phoenix Wright.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been dozens of those types of games over the last decade, so I just felt like it was. I don't think I would like necessarily deduct a point if they did make Mario and Rabbids 3, but
Okay. Cool.
yeah, I
Well, at this
wasn't
point,
being like I wasn't just being like a cameo. You just see like a picture of Link in like a game.
Yep.
I wasn't gonna be like, yeah, I get a full point because Link crossed over into this game. I
Right.
was like, no,
You need a full on one, like Mario and
yeah,
Rabbids, like Link and
like a character like actually like playable like in
nice.
like a different IP.
All right. Cool.
Right.
That'd be fun.
All right. So my last one, I also went kind of specific. I kind of went crazy. I said, let's do it. I didn't want to be just general. With major development teams working on Switch 2 games, the Switch will have a year of ports. I said, we'll finally see the Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD releases, Metroid Prime 2, and possibly 3, Xenoblade Chronicles X, possibly another Kirby game like Epic Yarn. Going further, due to the success of Mario RPG, we'll see at least one more NES, SNES, Game Boy Color, N64, GBA, or Virtual Boy era remake. It may not be released in 2024, but it will at least be announced.
Okay. All right.
Hold yourself in there when they make it a shadow drop at the end of the year and be like, oh, like yes, I get a point for this because they announced
it. Game Awards came through clutch.
Lots of ports. It sounds a lot like 2023, honestly. There's a lot of ports there too, but they're gonna finish off the ports, bringing them all.
Well, we
in.
already know. If you look at this year, there's 5 Nintendo games announced, and Princess Peach is the only new one. Paper Mario is a remake. Luigi's Mansion's a remake. Mario and Donkey Kong's a remake, and Another Code is a remake of 2 games. So 4 remakes and 1 new game thus far that we know about this year from Nintendo. So that seems to be where they're going.
Makes sense for sure. All right. My last one is another hardware related one. I think with the Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever, being announced, releasing later this year, we've talked about this on previous episodes. I think Nintendo is going to go more all in with an update to the handheld only version of the Switch. and that will be the one that they really push moving forward. So I don't know if they're going to keep the Switch Lite moniker, but they will be an update to that system, and that will be the ongoing Switch. They'll sell the rest of them that are in stock of the existing Switches, but the existing Switch that they'll continue pushing will be the handheld only version. So we'll have a Switch Lite basically and a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro. So there'll be an update to that. Maybe it'll be updated to OLED or something to make it worth it. But that will be the one they'll keep pushing on into the next cycle. So they'll almost be back to that handheld line and the home console line again. But there will be crossover this time, not unlike the Game Boy and the 3DS or whatever, and the whatever home console they had. So they'll almost kind of be toying with both lines at the same time, but the Switch Lite or whatever it'll be handheld only. They're going to update it, push it forward, and they'll see that one going hand in hand with the Switch 2, Switch Pro.
Oh. Yeah, I can see that happening. So, depending on how the Switch 2 is. If the Switch 2 is targeted more as a home console, I could definitely see that. If it's targeted as a hybrid again, maybe not.
Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely see them wanting to do more like handheld, because it's been like their bread and butter, at least, especially with like the Game Boy. I feel like Game Boy is in that line, and like the DS line also was much more successful like for Nintendo overall because of its portability. So I do feel like if they were to eliminate something, it would be more in vain with the handheld side than the home console side.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
You mean they would eliminate the home console and not the handheld?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's all right. Yeah.
In my brain, it sounded different, but yeah.
Yeah. It's the 9th, January 9th.
I knew what you meant.
Well, that's our predictions. We'll see how we do a year from now. But let's look at this year ahead. And Barry, as you alluded to earlier, we only know a handful of Nintendo games that have been announced that we know are coming this year. There's a lot of third-party games as well that we do know about for this year. So let's talk about some games that we know that are coming out this year that we are excited about. So we'll just kind of do this free for all. Any games that pop up to you guys that and just hop in there and share them, and we'll discuss them for a little bit.
Legend of Heroes: Trails into Daybreak, Game of the Year, baby.
Ooh,
that's all I need.
Game of the Year. You heard it here first. Nice.
That's pretty lucky there, because usually the Game of the Year comes out right around that summertime. I think and I saw that there's like that time frame where it's like, because Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom both came out around that same time frame. It gave a lot of time for digestion and full time to enjoy it. But so
Elden Ring came out in March though, so I mean it's not always. It's usually earlier the year. It's usually the first half of the year.
It's true.
But no, in terms of excitement, I mean, like I said, there's Trails into Daybreak. There's a bunch of JRPGs this year. I'm really looking forward to Grand Blue Fantasy is coming out in this upcoming week, and Persona 3 has a remake. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So many. Paper Mario, Luigi's Mansion 2, like the Nintendo ones, of course.
Yep.
It's.
Yeah.
Pretty Girls Solitaire,
That's Steve's Game of the Year right there.
Steve's Game of the Year.
Hey, we have the worst games of the year on those lists. I left all those off mostly because I didn't play them. But yeah.
You gotta play them to rate them.
Yeah,
exactly.
you have to download it. You have to fully enjoy your Solitaire Plus.
No, thank you. I'm excited for Luigi's Mansion 2. I like that game. I didn't exactly. That was on purpose. But yeah, I'm really excited for that game. I played just a little bit of it it was on 3DS, right? So yeah. I played just a little bit of it. But I think having an HD remake of that game would be really fun. I enjoy all the Luigi Mansions games, so yeah, that should be pretty fun.
I'm still confused why they're not calling it Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, because everywhere but here it was called Luigi's Mansion 2, but here it was Dark Moon. And to me, it seems like the perfect Luigi's Mansion 2 : Dark Moon subtitle. That
really
way
should
people
be.
know it's Dark Moon for those in America. Like,
Yeah.
just do it that way. Make it
Yeah.
simple.
And it might be by the time, I think it's up for Q3 this year, so they still got time to add the
Yeah.
subtitle in.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't have just done that in the first place. Because, like, I mean, it's even kind of how they changed around, like the Metroid 2. Like, it was like, oh, Return of Samus instead of Samus Returns. Like, I mean, essentially that is kind of like the same lingo at least, but here they're like removing the full subtitle that kind of like made it like the actual game. So it'd be like them just trying to say like, oh, we're releasing like Double Dash, and like, oh, but we're just gonna call it Mario Kart 5 or whatever the heck it is in the order.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's wrong with using Double Dash? Like, it's the same,
right? It could still be Mario Kart 5 : Double Dash. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I that kind of shocks me. I'm like, because especially in America, like other places I can see where they never got Dark Moon. I don't know why it wasn't called Luigi's Mansion 2 here to begin with, or why it wasn't called Dark Moon everywhere else. But at this point, you might as well just combine the two because they're not overstepping each other.
Right. Yeah.
And many games have subtitles. It's not an uncommon thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to go to that. Let's go back to that school of thought for subtitles. Like, oh, new Super Luigi Mansion 2 HD plus Knuckles. Like,
yeah, because they're so good at their other naming conventions.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited
so
about about the Princess Peach game? Like, I'm kind of on the fence about it.
I am.
I'm also on the fence as well too. My fiance already pre-ordered it with she finally got her own 2 virtual tickets or whatever for games, and she did the Mario vs. Donkey Kong and that one. So I don't know if I'm going to be sold fully on the Peach game. I'm still kind of considering it, but it might be something that I end up getting. I guess it just depends on how much of the backlog I really want to tackle at the beginning of the year while there's like this lull period. But because I do want to do like another code, obviously, which I'm very excited for, even though it already came out and it still was kind of highly anticipated by me, at least before we had this podcast. But yeah.
Princess Peach kind of reminds me of Luigi's Mansion 3, where Luigi's Mansion 3, every floor was like its own mini level of the mansion. I feel like that's the way that they're building this, and to me that excites me. I like that because it allows creativity, but it doesn't have creativity of one thing hamper the creativity of another. Like one floor in Luigi's Mansion was like the movie theater, and that didn't make everything have to be themed around a movie theater. The next floor was like a garden, and it was like totally different themes, but it worked. And I'm like, oh, I can see. I don't know if this is being done by, was it Next Level that did Luigi's Mansion 3? I don't know if this is the same studio, but I feel like this is kind of going along now where each level is a different costume and different mechanics. And I'm excited for it because it doesn't look like dumbed down. Like, this is baby's first Mario game. Like, they're making it something unique. And for all we know, this idea, because Miyamoto is famous for doing this, they take a game and then they shove Nintendo characters into it. And this game could have been made with completely original characters, and Miyamoto saw it and said, you know what, put Princess Peach in there.
True.
So I think it'll be fun.
Could have been a Kirby game to start with.
Usually Kirby gets inserted into everything else.
What if Kirby had only a specific thing the entire level? Like, oh, well, that would be weird for Kirby. Let's throw Peach in it.
Yeah, it happens all the time with Miyamoto.
Yeah, and I feel like Peach would still fit in well, just changing costumes or whatever each thing. I mean, it is like a play thing, so I mean, it's very understandable that she would have different controls or different kind of elements. Like some could be easily more action based, and others could be more puzzle based on like the detective versus like the using like the sword or whatever. So it does allow to have lots of unique ideas, and that's almost essentially how like Captain Toad was born. It was because like, well, Mario doesn't normally can't jump, so it's like it didn't make sense to use him. But I was like, oh well, you could say it's Toad, and well then his backpack weighs him down, and they can't jump. Like, so it made it work for that kind of game, and that's where I feel like it does work for Peach. And I don't think Super Princess Peach did very well on the DS either, but this one does seem like it's not trying to throw in some random elements into it, but
I mean, Super
Oh,
Princess Peach wouldn't work if it was released today because it was based on emotions, and I feel like society would look at that and going, "Are you saying women are only very
Yeah,
emotional? Is that what you're trying to say?" So I feel it's a product of its time, and it's a good game, but it's a product of its time.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
one. Oh, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say one game I'm excited for, which hasn't been announced, but I'm assuming there's going to be an announcement, is a new Pokemon.
Mm,
And I feel like I loved Scarlet and Violet. I know some people will laugh and go, "Oh, it was trash," blah blah blah. Performance of that game was trash,
mm,
absolutely. But there was a good game there. That was a lot of fun. And if you got past the windmills moving like this and the people literally just like in frames and yeah, you look past that, the battles were good, the open world was fun, it was varied, there was so many good ideas. There was even better ideas in Legends Arceus, but I feel like there's been enough time that Game Freak hopefully is a looking at both of those games, b listening to the criticisms, and even more recently looking at Power World and all that stuff that's going on now, and they're building a better game.
mm,
And I'm hopeful that what comes out is what Scarlet and Violet and Arceus were all aiming to do on
mm.
a grander scale with performance, and maybe Switch 2. Maybe, hey, we're utilizing the Switch 2. Hell, talk about a launch game.
Mm.
Could you imagine a brand new generation Pokemon as a launch
That'd
title
be
for the Switch 2? Wow. You would not be able to get that console. That would
yeah,
be huge.
that'd be huge.
So
Yeah,
let's see if that happens.
yeah. Especially if it is backward compatible, and all of a sudden Scarlet and Violet run like they're supposed to, you get another game.
Oh yeah. If Scarlet and Violet run great on the Switch too, that would be huge because I think a lot of people will give it more of a chance. And performance issues. There's multiple levels of performance issues. There's performance issues where the frame rate just drops to like 2 frames a second. To me, that's unplayable. If you see characters moving at 3 frames a second, but they're background characters, um, whatever. Pretty much what I think happened with Scarlet and Violet is when a character or any object is a far distance away from where you are, a lower version or like a low polygon, lower frame version of that character loads. And as you get closer, it's supposed to auto load a better model to represent they're there. And I think that game, for whatever reason, never loaded in the
Mm,
closer model of those characters, and you only see the far away characters. Because a lot of games, in fact, most games have models just sitting off, out of bounds in like T poses until they're called in, or they're below ground until they're called into the scene. They do that to save memory. So that wouldn't surprise me if there was something messed up in the code. But they haven't fixed it. And the fact that they haven't fixed it after all this time tells me either they don't know what happened
mm,
or they just don't care. And they figure they're going to cut their losses and move on. Because I figured with the DLC, the Secrets of Area Zero, which I enjoyed both parts, and they're in smaller areas, I figured maybe they would perform better, and they didn't. The same issues that plagued
hmm.
the Mace game plagued these two smaller areas in the DLC that came afterwards. So that kind of gave me a red flag,
That's
even
too
though I
bad.
enjoyed them. Um, Maybe they felt it would be too like jarring to go to the new areas and then go back to the old areas, so they figured they would keep it consistent. That's my hope, but I am hopeful for the next generation Pokemon and whatever comes in the Switch too
Mm,
this year, because I don't I don't know if they're going to do another gen or they're going to do a remake or whatnot, but I know Power World is doing really well right now, and I know Game Freak is taking notice, and if they're smart, they will capitalize on that, and they will capitalize on that in a big way.
mm. Nice.
but yeah, that kind of did bring like thoughts of just when you were mentioning Pokemon, because I was like, we this last November we didn't see any Pokemon games. Like I feel like they've been Pokemon's almost been like that yearly franchise, like Call of
The
Duty, where it's like
DLC.
if
The
The
DLC
DLC
became
was
the
that.
third game.
Yeah.
Like after was it Platinum? I think was the last third game, and then they started with X and Y didn't get anything, but Sun and or Black and White got Black and White 2. Sun and Moon got Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That counted as the third game. And then with Sword and Shield, they stated instead of doing the third game, whether it be gun, knife, or whatever. They decided to instead do DLC content. So the DLC content is counted as the third game. So the same applies to Scarlet Violet. That's the equivalent of the third game.
Got it. Yep. I still have Scarlet and Violet on my backlog.
Yeah. And the epilogue just launched last month. No, this month. It was January. Epilogue was literally this month. So there was new, and it was a 30-minute thing, but it was a new Pokemon added in. It was an epilogue bringing everything together, and so new Pokemon content already actually technically happened in 2024, and they're still doing Terror Raids. There's a new Terror Raid next this upcoming weekend. So they're still adding new Pokemon in and keeping content alive. But
even in a game that people didn't really like that much.
There's a lot of people that play it.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
they can suffer through it. Yeah.
The problem is when you go online and you see comments, you're seeing the vocal minority, because the majority of people are not talking. It's kind of like, and this is not a video game related thing, but I've seen in cases like with a mall where like there was a fight happens in the parking garage in a mall, and someone posts about it on social media, and you see people go, "That's why I never go to the mall. It's unsafe. It's all I hear about is things like this," and it's like, that's because people don't go to the mall, come home, and immediately go on social media. I had a wonderful time at the mall. It was great. You only hear about things that are negative because that sells. It's so you're only hearing the vocal minority. You're not hearing the silent majority. And the same with games. The silent majority are really having fun with Scarlet and Violet. It's the vocal minority that are coming out there and just harping on the technical negatives. And as a lover of those games, Scarlet Violet was my second game of the year last year for the Switch. So I love it, but I can admit there's technical issues, but I didn't let it stop me. And a lot of people, in fact, the majority, didn't let it stop them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've already seen the people that are like, let's return to remove the 3D element out of Pokemon, and let's cancel Breath of the Wild 3 because we don't like this open world Zelda game. Like people are very easy to want to return to form and feeling all that nostalgic feelings.
Which is so funny because Zelda 1 is open world. Like Breath of the Wild actually did return to form. It returned to Zelda 1. You can't get more than
how quick they're turning on Pokemon, because Arceus was received so well.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, let's keep doing this," and then it messes up once, and they're like, "Let's go back." So, yeah,
people are fickle.
Yeah,
people, and I think a lot of people don't remember. Well, I think the people like us that are in 30s, 40s, we don't remember a lot of what it was like, and obviously the younger generation wasn't even alive for what it was like beforehand. Like I said, I'm playing Golden Sun now, and I forgot it was using the archaic style of JRPGs, and it's jarring. It's a great game, but if you told a kid play Golden Sun, it's one of the best JRPGs ever, and they just played a bunch of modern ones, they would go back and go, "Oh, I don't know if I could play this because it's not the same. It requires a little more thought. The quality of life isn't there," and I would understand. Like, yeah, it's more annoying. Like, to me, I miss auto battles for grinding because it made it a little easier.
Yeah.
I missed at least hitting the A button. Voice of Cards, one of the things it does, because it's a tabletop. If you push the A button, you pick up your piece, and if you push it again, you put it down, and it counts as another move. So you can sit there and grind by just rapidly hitting the A button. You'll get into random battles because it counts as moving, even though you're not moving anywhere. You're just picking up your piece and putting it down.
Nice.
So I'm like, wow, that was nice. I could just go outside of a town and just do this for a while and grind. So it's weird how I think we take a lot of the modern amenities and quality of games, and we take it for granted. And we look at yesteryear with the rose-colored glasses and the nostalgia glasses and go, "Oh, it was perfect," and it was like, no, it wasn't. There were growing pains along the way, and there still are today. You just got to accept it.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna pull up. Nintendo Life has a list of 35 games they put together. I'm just gonna run through those real quick and just kind of
Wow.
announce those real quick. Some of those games we've talked about already, but I just wanted to make sure that all of our listeners know some games that are coming out this year. So they've got Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney trilogy. It's
That's
set
out
for this
already.
year, already out this year. So
That's
there you
out.
go. Eastward, Octopia, or Octopia. I pronounced that correctly. The Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered is coming out February 14th, alongside another game that's coming out that same day that we talked about earlier, that I won't be getting.
No, that's the 15th.
Oh, the
Steve,
15th.
you should
Sorry.
know what
I
day
might be busy playing Tomb
your
Raider.
game
I
of the
don't know.
year is going to come out. Come on.
Mario versus Donkey Kong is going to be coming out this year as well as Inkulinati, I think is how you pronounce that. We'll see. But Splatoon 3 Side Order is coming out this year. Shiren the Wanderer, the Mystery Dungeon of Serpent Coil Island, Unicorn Overlord, Princess Peach Showtime, Contra Operation Galuga, Penny's Big Breakaway, Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley, Leica Age Through Blood, Freedom Planet 2, Barry, you know how to pronounce this right. Ayuden Chronicle. Did I get that right? Ayuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes.
Yep. Eden Chronicle.
Tales of Kinzera. I don't know. It's not ZAU. It's like ZAU or something like that, isn't it? It's just capital letters. I don't know. But that's another brand new EA original game that's coming out. Braid Anniversary Edition is supposed to come out this year. Planet of Lana. I think it's Lana. Demon School. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown Deluxe Editions coming over to Switch. So I'm excited to see if it looks like it should from the other games porting over to Switch. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Blade Chimera. Bow Path of Teal Lotus. Death Trick Double Blind. Deca Police coming out this year.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about that. Llamasoft, the Jeff Mentor story. I don't know anything about that one. Locomotive is supposed to come out this year. It's like the Monkey Island similar game. Metal Slug Tactics, Pepper Grinder, the Plucky Squire. Sorry,
that looks so good too.
It does look pretty good. Rift of the Necrodancer, Shantae Advance, Risky Revolution. Went there. Sociable Soccer 24, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, Gun Gate Rune, and the Dunan Unification Wars. Make simpler names for me to pronounce. Hollow Knight Silksong has come out this year. Minna the Hollower. So lots of good games. One thing I noticed, is the only brand new Nintendo first party game Princess Peach Showtime.
Yeah,
that's
what I said. The other 4 that we know of are all remakes.
Yeah. So yeah,
of that list.
Yeah,
Penny looks really good. That's from the makers of, I think, Sonic Mania. That one's like a platformer.
That's right.
And if you've never played Suikoden, and the Yuden Chronicles is actually like a spiritual successor to Suikoden. Those are great JRPGs. And Greg, if it hasn't been on your radar, I would normally put it on my radar, but I'm not a big fan of strategy role-playing games. But Unicorn Overlord is from Vanillaware. Vanillaware makes amazing games, very stylistic, and it's a strategy role-playing game. So if that hasn't been on your radar, you probably should take a look at it. That could be your game of the year. Everything I've heard is people like previews and stuff. People are loving it, and I wish I liked that style of game more, because I would be playing it otherwise, because it looks great.
Yeah, I think that was the one I got confused when we talked about at its announcement. That one, I think initially I had written down or confused the details of that with a different game. So I think that was the one that I remember from that Indie Land or whatever that was, the last indie presentation they
Nintendo
did with it.
Direct.
Or
That
maybe
was
it
a
was that
Nintendo
one.
Direct. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's Atlas. Atlas is putting that out. Well, Vanillaware has done some fantastic games. Odin Sphere, Muramasa, Demon's Crown, just some 13 Sentinels. I love Vanillaware games. It's going to be the first one that I'm not really going to play just because I'm not a fan of the SRPGs. But yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Got a beautiful collector's edition too, like physical collector's edition.
Cool. Greg, any of those stand out to you that listed off?
Yeah, I mean, I was at that Unicorn Overlord, and I was already interested in Luigi's Mansion and Mario versus Donkey Kong and some of the main ones that we already do know about. And I just have no idea how many ports we'll get this year versus the new games, but we'll find out once that Nintendo Direct comes out next month. So
if Barry's prediction is
Hey.
accurate, we're getting all the ports.
Yeah. Hey, look, usually Nintendo and Sony do a Nintendo Direct and a State of Play, sometimes on the same day. And Sony announced this Wednesday, as in 2 days from now, there is a State of Play. So tomorrow, Nintendo very well could announce a Nintendo Direct for Wednesday. Just throwing that out there. It
Sure.
could happen.
Could
Yeah.
very well happen.
I know our podcast is always a very good indicator of it, but I did a little bit of research, at least on Nintendo Direct, just to see about but trying to nail down a day. It seems like the first one of the year, at least like mainline Direct game that's not like a Game Pacific one, has normally come on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So that would be, I guess, either like the Wednesday this week or even like the 7th or 21st. Probably they probably wouldn't do it on Valentine's Day. Then I was also noted for like if they do keep the theme with the Thursday, then it could be the 8th or even the 15th, because they have had one like the day after, day before Valentine's Day already before too. So it depends on which day they're targeting for their announcement, really.
This Wednesday, State of Play. It could happen.
Definitely could, for sure.
Yep, could happen. Or it could not happen. Is that your sixth prediction?
Yeah. Bonus prediction. Wins the Nintendo Direct.
Bonus prediction. Hey, you know what? All Aksys 2024 is also. Oh, that's Thursday. It's Thursday, so it's right afterwards. So
it's the time of year for the announcements, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Looking at the chat real quick, Jesse Glenn says excited for Plucky Squire and can't stop playing Vampire Survivors, just like in any free time. And unlocking more and more, just such an intense gameplay mechanism would be great for other IPs beyond the Among Us DLC, i.e. Mario, Zelda, and Mega Man. So cool. Well, that brings us to the end of our 2024 predictions and what we're looking forward to this year. But let's turn our attention to the immediate future. Our next episode is going to be on February 13th. As we said earlier, we're going to be shifting gears and going back to our original Tuesday schedule. So every other Tuesday, you'll find us live on both YouTube and Twitch. And we're also bumping up our start time to 8 p.m. Eastern time and 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll be, going live both, like I said, on YouTube and Twitch starting February 13th. Which would be on a Tuesday, so every other Tuesday moving forward. But until then, there's a few games coming out, not a ton, but as we always do, we'll scroll those on the screen. Compliments of Metacritic and their listing over there, what games are coming up over the next couple weeks. But really, the only one that the only one that stood out to me when I was looking through the list earlier was the Tomb Raider collection, and that's actually right after our next podcast. So it comes out on February 14th. So I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of third-party, like indie games, a lot of ports of mobile games that are coming over and stuff like that. Maybe there's some stuff that I overlooked and I missed out. So, Greg, anything on this list or things that that are coming out over the next couple weeks that you're excited about? Or if not, what are you hoping to play?
I don't think anything, at least before the podcast, but I believe Mario versus Donkey Kong is a few days after that podcast too, isn't it? Like that Friday afterwards, I think it is. But
I think so.
Yeah,
but yeah, that would be the next main one I'd be looking forward to, and it'll probably be just wrapping up Super Mario RPG, and if time allows, hopefully getting into another Code, because that's next on my playlist to get through So I didn't really see anything that was at least releasing in the next few weeks. I still have to catch up on the one that released like a week or two ago with another code. So hopefully I'll jump into that one before the next podcast.
Nice. Barry, how about you?
Police car driver city parking simulator. Damn, game of the year right there. No, nothing really for the Switch actually. I'm doing. I'm gonna finish Golden Sun, but then it's all going to PlayStation with Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Looking forward to that. And then after that, it's going to be Persona 3 remake, and I'm still debating on Mario versus Donkey Kong. I might mess around with it, depending on how long that takes, because then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is right after that. So I'm like, bang, 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 3 RPGs, and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is, for those that don't know, it's the mobile game Grand Blue Fantasy. It's like they're doing like this full. So it's single player. It has some online functions, all as a console version, and it's made by Cygames, also the makers of Dragalia Lost. So playing the demo, it's like this clearly they could do Dragalia Lost Nintendo on console, because that's exactly what this is. So it's like, hey, it's been years. This is cool. I can kind of play Dragalia Lost again and with different characters. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and it just makes me hopeful that Nintendo will not let that IP die and will do something to bring it back in a solo form like this with Cygames. Cygames do it. You know, they Cygames can clearly do it.
Nice. If only that could be a bonus prediction for the other two. That's, or just a desire, not necessarily a prediction.
Just a
deep
desire. It's not a prediction.
Bring over, bring it over to the Switch 2.
Nintendo, stop killing your own IPs.
Yeah. This is the game that stood out to me as well. Mac OS is apparently coming to Switch. For the audio listeners, that's MAKOS, not MAC.
And look, calculator's right there. We had a whole thing on the calculator.
Yeah, it's like I don't even understand what the like. Okay, whatever.
Hey, remember when there was a Nintendo seal of quality?
Yeah. Let's bring that back for this Switch 2 Pro Super Switch. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, fun fact on that seal of quality, I did see that they have been keeping that trademark going. So when I was deep diving into Nintendo trademarks for that GameCube thing, I did see that they have kept that seal of quality thing from the NES and Super Nintendo days. They have still been re-upping that.
Nice. Well, they need to bring it back for sure. Enough of this Mac OS. What is that? Yeah, I'm beyond Mac OS. I need to finish up Prince of Persia, and I think right now, because of no real huge games that are coming out of the next couple weeks, this might be my time to finally get back and finish off the I guess technically they're on backlog, but they're in progress games that I've mentioned several times in previous podcasts that I need to get back to. So maybe
Life has changed too.
That's one of them.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I do need to get back to Tears of the Kingdom.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
I haven't played that in a while. Xenoblade Chronicles X, you mean? Yeah, I need to get back to that as well. That's been 5 years on the back burner. Yeah,
by the time you finish it, they're going to announce the Switch port.
That's true, but then I'll just play it on my Wii U, because I need to turn that thing on at some point anyway, just make sure it.
Yeah, they apparently
erase
breaking
everything.
Like you have to turn it on to make sure it doesn't break.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Speaking of which, isn't 3DS and Wii U
online
shutting down?
April, I think.
Is it
April 7th? I think.
April. Okay.
I think it's April 7th. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
One
more reason why you go physical.
Yep.
Well, I do know that there are people trying to beat every single Mario Maker 1 level, because there are, I guess, 3,000 some levels that are still yet to be completed yet.
Wow. Did you that speaking of things like that, I think I was hearing about this with Steel Diver Sub Wars. If you remember that free
Uh-huh.
game they did, it was apparently there was an update to the 3DS that killed the game. Like you can't no longer download it. And people asked Nintendo about it. Supposedly Nintendo was like, "Oh yeah, that happened. I guess whatever. We're not putting it back." Like so that's now a dead IP, like a dead Nintendo first party game. And I'm like, wow, how little they care.
Wow. Jesse Glenn says in the chat that he recently obtained all his original WiiWare and Virtual Console. Life is good.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
Nice. And Zev Zero likes your shirt. So
yes, Zev is he's with Serenity Forge. We're talking about Zhuanyan's Sword 3 earlier. They're doing the physical, so physical collectors, go give them some love because that game absolutely deserves your purchase.
cool.
And thank you. Yes, I'm a Mega Man Zero. I'm a Mega Man fan in general, but yeah, Zero.
That's awesome. So, Greg, anything else happen in your life over the next couple weeks before we meet again on February 13th?
Well, actually, we'll be going down to Florida later this week, so to celebrate both my daughter and my fiance's birthdays. So I'll be there for a few days, and hopefully enjoy some nice warmer weather down in Florida. It's better than our snow and icy Chicagoland weather we've had here. So it'll be definitely nice to get the warm weather and get some nice travel time to play stuff on the airplane and stuff like that too. So always nice to. That's always really love about the Switch being so portable.
Nice. Barry, what's going on in your world?
Travel isn't really one of those things that I do normally anyway, but with a young child, it's definitely not this time of year because diseases. So we're just kind of hunkering in. Unfortunately, my wife has a very busy work schedule coming up, and she was going to be at the office for most of the day. So I'm going to be home with the little one solo, playing single parent. Fun times, meaning I'm going to enjoy when he's napping so I can play some games. and when he's awake, I'm going to enjoy watching him learn things and play, and it's just a fun experience. It is a whole new world, and it's been wonderful. So he is my focus for the foreseeable future.
Awesome. How was, speaking of which, how was the holiday season with the little one?
It was
pretty
great.
exciting.
It was for the first time Christmas was actually Christmas, even though he didn't really know anything. We put the package to him and we pushed his hand in to open it. We helped him open it, and he was like, "Yeah," like he didn't know what was going on, and the dogs were running around like, "Ooh, wrapping paper," And but it was like the first Christmas we actually I wrapped a present for the first time in like 6 years, and it was like because my wife and I were just like, "All right, let's get a new TV for the house," or like this year we got the MetaQuest 3. Like we didn't wrap it, we just got it, and we opened it up and played it. So it was nice to do that, and I think going forward it's going to be even better. Because then he's going to start to understand what's going on. He's going to looking forward to and getting stuff. But he got a lot of
Nintendo
cool
64 moment eventually.
Oh, eventually he got a controller, got the Play School controller and the Game Boy, the Play School Game Boy. So he sat there and he's pushed the little buttons, and I've heard that song so many times now. It's like, oh, driving me crazy. But he's going to be holding it, pretending to be playing while I'm playing, and I'm looking forward to those times. Like, here, push the jump button. 4. No, shut up. Turn the volume up. Whatever.
Nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, it's wonderful. I was gonna look back at this one day when he's like 20 and go like, "Dad, I hate you. Why are you talking about
the day that we hand off the podcast to your kids? Will be the day he's like, I'm going back and erasing all those old episodes that they talk about me as kids. Well, it's been awesome talking with all of you in the chat as well, and we love having you guys join us live. So if you never joined us, one more reminder, we're heading over to every other Tuesday schedule starting February 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We'd love to have you join on a live episode. If you've never done so before, be a great time to jump in. Maybe you're normally busy on Mondays. We're heading back to Tuesdays. Maybe that's going to be working out better for your schedule, so you can also join us. And we're hoping that maybe sometimes we'll be able to get just behind a Nintendo Direct that might launch on a Tuesday morning, and we actually talk about it that night. We'll see if that works out. They'll probably just move all the Nintendo Directs to Wednesday or Thursday, but just in spite of us.
Wait,
You Nintendo
I think it-
Fuse.
I think it more depends on the time of year. When I was doing my Nintendo Direct research to see what dates would be in February, I did notice that the Tuesday ones tend to be the September one. So the big like kickoff for the holiday season, like the final announcements for the games that release over the year is in September. So that's our like after Labor Day podcast is gonna be the one that predicts like the big mainline Direct.
Interesting. All right, we'll see if it actually happens in a few months. But guys, it's been awesome talking video games with you guys as usual. And we'll see you live on February 13th with our next episode. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
See you next time.